When did a friend almost end your life? My white friend Lewis begged me to stop at a gas station even though I'd told him 3 times that this was a sundown town and we needed to be through here before dark, but he didn't understand what that meant for someone like me. He said he couldn't wait another minute and kept saying I was being paranoid, that those towns didn't exist anymore, but my black grandfather had warned me about this exact place, and my hands were already sweating on the steering wheel as I pulled in. The moment we parked, I noticed how every white person at the pumps turned to stare at my car, at me specifically, and all conversations stopped completely. Lewis jumped out saying he'd be 2 minutes, oblivious to the danger, but I knew we'd already made a mistake being here after sunset with me behind the wheel. I stayed in the car with the engine running, watching Lewis jog inside while 2 white men by the door watched him go in, then looked directly at me with expressions I recognized from every story my family had ever told me about places like this. One of them walked over to my window and tapped on it with his ring, smiling when I didn't roll it down, saying something to his friend about one of them being in their town after dark. More people were gathering now, coming out of nowhere it seemed, all white faces, all looking at me in my car. Lewis was taking too long, and I could see through the store window that the clerk was moving in slow motion, pretending not to understand what Lewis was asking for while gesturing at me in the car. The bathroom key was right there on the counter, but the clerk kept saying he didn't know where it was, making Lewis wait while more people gathered outside. 5 minutes passed, and now there were 4 men standing near my car, not surrounding it exactly, but positioned so I couldn't leave without driving close to them. One leaned on the hood, and when I honked, they all laughed, and one said loudly that I should know better than to honk at white folks. Lewis finally came out, but the men stepped in front of him, asking where he was from, where he was going, why he was traveling with that one after dark in their town. Lewis tried to walk around them, but they moved with him. I opened my door to get out and help, but one of the men said, "Stay in the car, boy," and my blood went cold at that word, the way he said it. Lewis was backing toward the car now, and the men were following, getting closer, and one said something about how his kind shouldn't be here at night. Lewis reached the passenger door, but it was locked, and his hands were shaking as he pulled the handle. I hit the unlock button, but it didn't work the first time, and one of the men grabbed Lewis's shoulder, spinning him around, asking why he was helping me. Didn't he know better? More people had come out of the station and nearby houses, maybe 15 now, forming a loose circle around my car. The one holding Lewis said they had rules in this town since before the Civil Rights Act, rules that still mattered, and I needed to learn them. I got out even though my legs were shaking and said we were just leaving, but another man stepped between me and Lewis, saying the sun had set, and that meant something here. Lewis tried to pull away, but the man holding him shoved him against my car hard enough to dent it, asking if he was a lover of my kind. Someone else said I needed to be taught about respect and tradition, and knowing my place, words I'd heard in every warning my family had given me. I reached for my phone, but a hand knocked it away and it shattered on the concrete. They were pressed in close now, and I could smell beer and cigarettes and something else, like kerosene, and my mind went to every lynching story I'd ever heard. Lewis was saying we didn't want trouble, but they laughed and said trouble had already found me, being black in their town after dark, disrespecting their heritage. Someone grabbed my arms from behind and I couldn't move. They were dragging Lewis away from the car toward the woods behind the station, and he was screaming for help, but no one was coming. The man holding me leaned in close and said this was a warning, that I was lucky they were in a good mood tonight, that my kind used to swing from these trees. I could hear Lewis struggling in the darkness and branches breaking and his voice getting farther away. More cars were pulling up now, headlights pointing toward the woods, and I could see maybe 30 people now, all walking toward where they'd taken Lewis. The man holding me started dragging me that way too, and I was fighting, but there were too many of them. Someone said they had rope in their truck, and another said they knew a good tree, the same one from 1952, and I knew exactly what they meant. Lewis was screaming my name from the woods, and I was screaming back, but they were dragging us both deeper into the darkness, and there were so many of them, and no one was coming to help. Full story on the channel below.